Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling.
The Asian entertainment industry has once again been shaken by a release that nobody expected to hit this deeply. Just when audiences believed they already understood the image, personality, and artistic direction of one of China's most beloved young stars, Zhao Lusi surprised everyone with a song that feels less like a typical music release and more like an emotional confession hidden beneath poetic words. On April 24, 2026, Zhao Lusi officially released her newest single titled, "I Hope You Find God." And within only a few hours, the internet exploded with reactions, interpretations, emotional debates, and endless speculation surrounding the true meaning behind the song. But what truly captured public attention was not simply the melody or the visuals. It was the unsettling emotional atmosphere surrounding the entire project. The title alone immediately sparked curiosity across social media. Was it a message to someone from the past? Was it a symbolic farewell? Was it heartbreak disguised as art? Or was this the moment Zhao Lusi finally revealed a side of herself the public had never truly seen before? Fans quickly noticed that this was not the same cheerful, playful Zhao Lusi they had become familiar with through romantic dramas and sweet public appearances. This time, something felt different. Darker, more personal, more vulnerable. And perhaps for the very first time in her career, audiences were not simply watching a celebrity release a song. They were witnessing what felt like the beginning of an entirely new era. For years, Zhao Lusi has occupied a unique place within the Chinese entertainment industry. She built her reputation through charming roles, warm humor, and a naturally bright personality that made her one of the most recognizable faces among younger actresses. Her dramas consistently attracted massive audiences, and her image became closely associated with comfort, innocence, and emotional warmth. However, behind the polished image of a successful actress, many fans also sensed an artist who had gradually begun searching for something deeper. Over recent years, Zhao Lusi quietly expanded her presence within music, contributing original tracks and soundtrack performances that revealed a softer, more introspective layer of her personality. At first, many people viewed music as merely an extension of her acting career, something pleasant but secondary. Yet, with each new release, audiences slowly began noticing that her musical identity was evolving into something far more serious. That is precisely why I Hope You Find God feels so significant. This was not presented as a casual soundtrack or a promotional side project connected to a drama series. Instead, the song arrived carrying the emotional weight of a personal artistic statement. Reports surrounding the release suggested that Zhao Lusi participated directly in parts of the creative process, including lyrical concepts and emotional direction. Whether intentional or not, the result was a song that immediately felt more intimate than anything she had released previously. Listeners described the atmosphere as haunting yet elegant, restrained yet emotionally heavy. Rather than relying on loud production or dramatic vocal runs, the song embraced silence, space, and vulnerability. The slower tempo allowed every lyric to linger in the listener's mind, creating the sensation that audiences were being invited into thoughts that perhaps were never originally meant to be shared publicly. What truly transformed the song into a viral phenomenon, however, was the title itself. "I Hope You Find God" is a phrase layered with emotional complexity. On the surface, it may sound spiritual or philosophical, but within emotional culture online, many interpreted the phrase as carrying traces of disappointment, emotional exhaustion, and unresolved pain. Some listeners believed it represented a mature form of farewell, while others viewed it as a poetic expression directed towards someone who may have caused emotional hurt in the past. The ambiguity became the song's greatest strength. Zhao Lusi never directly explained whether the lyrics referred to a real experience, a fictional narrative, or a symbolic artistic concept. And because no direct explanation was given, audiences immediately began creating their own interpretations. That uncertainty became fuel for social media discussion. Across digital platforms, fans analyzed specific lyrics, vocal tones, visual aesthetics, and even the emotional pacing of the song. Some believed the track reflected heartbreak hidden beneath elegance. Others interpreted it as a story about emotional healing after disappointment. Certain listeners even suggested that the phrase, "find God," symbolized a search for self-awareness, emotional accountability, or personal redemption. In many ways, the song succeeded because it allowed every listener to emotionally project their own experiences onto the narrative. People who had experienced difficult endings in relationships found comfort in its honesty. Others connected with the feeling of silent resilience after emotional confusion. Instead of presenting exaggerated sadness, the song communicated controlled pain, and that subtle emotional restraint made the message feel even more authentic. Another major reason the release attracted enormous attention was the dramatic contrast between this project and Zhao Lusi's previously established public image. For years, audiences associated her with playful romance and youthful optimism. She often appeared energetic, cheerful, and emotionally approachable. Yet this release introduced a colder, more reflective atmosphere. The visual styling surrounding the project leaned toward minimalism and emotional isolation rather than brightness and fantasy. Even her vocal delivery sounded noticeably more mature. Fans repeatedly commented that her voice carried emotional texture they had never heard before. Rather than performing like a fictional character, she sounded like someone quietly processing complicated feelings in real time. This transformation fascinated audiences because modern entertainment culture thrives on evolution narratives. Fans become deeply emotionally invested when they feel they are witnessing an artist grow beyond a familiar image. In Zhao Lusi's case, many viewers interpreted this release as evidence that she was stepping away from the safe expectations of romantic comedy stardom and moving toward a more layered artistic identity. That shift instantly increased public curiosity. People wanted to know whether this darker artistic direction represented a temporary experiment or the beginning of a larger reinvention. Industry observers also paid close attention to the strategic timing of the release. The Asian entertainment market has become increasingly competitive, especially among younger stars attempting to establish long-term artistic credibility beyond temporary popularity. In this environment, emotional authenticity has become one of the most valuable currencies in entertainment. Audiences no longer respond only to polished perfection. They respond to vulnerability, emotional transparency, and the sense that an artist is revealing something genuine. By releasing a song that feels emotionally exposed and artistically restrained, Zhao Lusi positioned herself differently from many mainstream celebrity releases that often prioritize trend-driven sounds over emotional storytelling. Interestingly, the song's success also reflects a broader shift happening across global entertainment culture. International audiences are increasingly drawn toward artists who blur the line between celebrity image and emotional reality. Music that feels personal tends to create stronger emotional loyalty because listeners feel connected not just to the performance, but to the person behind it. In many ways, I Hope You Find God succeeded because it gave audiences the impression that Zhao Lusi was finally speaking in her own voice, rather than performing a carefully manufactured persona. Another factor that contributed to the viral spread of the song was the cinematic quality of its emotional narrative. The release did not feel isolated. Instead, it felt like one chapter within a larger emotional storyline. Fans began revisiting Zhao Lusi's previous interviews, public appearances, and older music releases, searching for hidden emotional connections. Suddenly, ordinary moments from the past started being reinterpreted through the lens of this new song. That type of audience behavior dramatically increases online engagement because fans begin building theories, emotional timelines, and symbolic interpretations together. The community itself becomes part of the storytelling experience. The emotional impact of the release also benefited from timing within Zhao Lusi's career. After years of overwhelming visibility, expectations surrounding her public image had become almost impossible to escape. Many celebrities eventually reach a point where audiences stop seeing them as individuals and instead view them only through carefully repeated character archetypes. What made this release powerful was its ability to disrupt that pattern. Rather than reinforcing the familiar image audiences expected, Zhao Lusi introduced uncertainty, and uncertainty creates fascination. There is also another subtle layer within the song that many listeners found compelling. Despite the sadness surrounding its atmosphere, the message does not feel destructive or bitter. Instead, the emotional tone feels reflective, restrained, and strangely mature. The phrase, "I hope you find God," can be interpreted not only as emotional disappointment, but also as a quiet wish for growth and understanding. That complexity elevated the song beyond ordinary heartbreak narratives. It transformed the track into something more philosophical and emotionally sophisticated. Audiences were not simply consuming drama, they were exploring emotional ambiguity. The international dimension of the release also played a significant role in expanding discussion beyond China. By choosing an English title with universally recognizable emotional themes, Zhao Lusi positioned the project within a global cultural conversation. Themes like heartbreak, emotional recovery, identity transformation, and silent resilience resonate across languages and cultures. This broader accessibility allowed international fans to connect with the release immediately, even without fully understanding every lyric. In today's entertainment landscape, emotional universality often matters more than linguistic fluency. Many fans also praised the production choices behind the song. Rather than overwhelming the listener with heavy instrumentation, the arrangement remained intentionally restrained. The quieter production created emotional intimacy, allowing small details in Zhao Lusi's voice to become the emotional center of the experience. Breathing pauses, restrained delivery, and subtle tonal shifts became more powerful than dramatic high notes. That artistic restraint contributed heavily to the perception that this was her most mature musical work so far. Some entertainment commentators even described the release as a form of rebranding. Previously, Zhao Lusi's public image was built largely around sweetness, humor, and relatability. Now, she appears increasingly willing to embrace complexity, emotional realism, and artistic vulnerability. Importantly, this transformation does not reject her previous image entirely. Instead, it expands it. Audiences are now seeing a version of Zhao Lusi that feels more human, more introspective, and perhaps more emotionally honest than before. As discussions surrounding the song continue growing, one thing has become increasingly clear. This release has shifted public perception. Even viewers who were not previously invested in Zhao Lusi's music have begun paying attention. The conversation surrounding the song extends beyond fandom culture into broader entertainment analysis. People are no longer asking whether Zhao Lusi can sing. They are asking what kind of artist she is becoming. That may ultimately be the most important achievement of I Hope You Find God. The song transformed curiosity into emotional investment. It encouraged audiences to see Zhao Lusi not merely as a celebrity performing for attention, but as an evolving artist exploring identity, vulnerability, and emotional truth through music. Whether the song reflects personal experience or artistic imagination almost becomes irrelevant, because the emotional sincerity within the performance feels believable enough for audiences to emotionally accept it as real. And perhaps that is the true reason the release became such a massive talking point across the entertainment world. In an industry often dominated by polished perfection and predictable formulas, Zhao Lusi delivered something quieter, riskier, and emotionally uncertain. Instead of offering audiences easy answers, she invited them into emotional ambiguity. Instead of presenting herself as untouchable, she allowed herself to appear vulnerable. And in doing so, she created not only a successful release, but a cultural moment that audiences will likely remember as one of the most defining turning points of her artistic journey so far. As always, we would love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe I Hope You Find God was simply a beautifully written emotional song, or do you think there is a deeper hidden message behind the lyrics and atmosphere surrounding the release? Has Zhao Lusi officially entered a completely new era in her career, or is this only the beginning of an even bigger transformation still to come? Share your opinions in the comments below, because your perspective always adds something valuable to the conversation. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the emotional meaning and growing impact behind Zhao Lusi's newest release, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Update X 24 Hours, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates, hidden stories, and emotional moments from the world of Asian entertainment. Thank you so much for watching, thank you for spending your time with us today, and we will see you again very soon in the next video.